What's going on? Xxgeox here. And now, don't forget, April 24th. Links are in the description. April 29th. Clearwater, April 24th, Okeechobee. I hope to see a lot of you there. And now I'm going to just point out one little quick thing before we get started why I'm making this video. Alright, so let's point out this one little thing before we get started. Now I want you to notice over there to the left, the guy in the blue suit, and it's a guy, right? We can determine that, right? Alright, this was one of the very first meetings that we ever went to, and this was the attorney. And somehow, some way, between all the meetings that we've gone to, David Hazellief hasn't liked the response that he's been getting to the things that have been going on. And I'll show you exactly what I mean.
I'm asking you to
Who's the attorney?
Sir, would direct your questions up here or you won't be able to speak.
I'm trying to address something that you're addressing towards specifically me. Specifically, or others as well that have hats, but I'm only gonna
Could you state your name and address?
My name is Michael Taylor. I live in Port St. Lucie, Florida, and my address is irrelevant because I still have a Fourth Amendment right to not disclose. But I want to address the attorney.
Sir, you are not going to speak.
Cohen versus. Can we restart my time? Like you.
If you want to address this board, you're welcome to do so.
I will.
You're not going to address our attorney, and you're not going to be disrupted. So.
Cohen versus California allows a person to wear F the draft on it. It's.
Sir, we're not in California.
It's a federal case law. This is.
Sir,
stop! I'm talking about.
We are not going to get into somebody else's business.
Oh my God!
Meeting, okay?
Stop interrupting me.
You're not going to do
I am going to talk about my. This is public comment, correct? This is public comment.
No, sir. This is not. I explained to you before you came up here. You can talk about anything that we have jurisdiction over.
Right. I'm talking about what happened here in your county.
We have no jurisdiction over.
Oh my God.
You're through. Thank you.
I'm through?
Yes.
Are you sure about that?
I'm sure.
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
How sure?
Can we have him next? Anyone next, please?
This is insane. Even your officers know what you're trying to do is wrong. What you are trying to do is completely wrong. You do not need to be in that friggin' seat. You do not deserve the paycheck that we pay you.
Thank you. I see your name on the check. I appreciate you. Okay.
It's all these people. These are the people that pay your. Every one of these people pay your salary. What are you talking about, dude? Whatever, dude. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna sit in my chair.
We have a motion by Commissioner Sumner. Can I get a second to close the public comment? Second.
Oh, you cowards! Cowards!
Opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously.
Oh, you bunch of cowards, dude.
Your feelings are hurt, so you're not going to give us the courtesy of free speech?
He thinks he's above everybody.
Bro, you're our next. You're our next.
$4 million.
Dude, we thought Clearwater was bad.
Wow.
Holy cow! Attorney, that's the attorney right there. Attorney, address
It's
this.
not going to let him get away with it.
Attorney, why are you running? Don't run like a coward. Everybody's. Holy cow! This is the most insane.
Wow.
This I've never seen this type of friggin' council chambers ever in my life. Charity and got arrested. Oh man. Are we better now? Is everything all good?
I move we reopen public comment. Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Goodbread, second by Commissioner Sumner to open the public comment back up. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed nay.
Now I'm sorry for the long drawn out, giving you context thing. But you have to understand, we go in, we're trying to talk, they shut it down, they're like, oh, no more public comment. We can't take one of the first people to get up there and speak. They couldn't take it. And we're all like, hey, tell the attorney address this. And so then they had to tuck tail, and then they had to come back, and then they reopened public comment. Well, ever since that day, for some reason, the David Hazellief doesn't like, I'm guessing David Hazellief doesn't like this lawyer, or the male lawyer. So then, well, he brings in this Boldyke lawyer into this meeting, and she starts creating all these rules, and because she's willing to bow down to friggin' David Hazellief, this is what she's going to do. And this is why I'm telling everybody, show up to this meeting, because if you say something that they don't like, you're going to get kicked out of this meeting.
Okay. Madam Attorney, would you like to go over our decorum policy before we open up for public comment?
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Chair. As you all can see in the agenda packet, I prepared a memorandum of law, and I'm just going to talk through the decorum policy portion of it. As you all know, this meeting constitutes a limited forum, which is a type of designated public forum, which means that the government, here the county, limits access to a designated public forum to certain classes or types of speech. This comes from a holding from the United States Supreme Court from 2001, which is Good News Club versus Milford Central High School, in which the Supreme Court held that in a limited forum, the government may not discriminate against classes of speakers or types of speech. However, the government may limit access to public meetings to be topics that are related to the work of the Board of County Commissioners or to the government. So our meetings, including the public comment portions, the public comment in the beginning, are limited public forums, and that also comes from a holding from the 11th Circuit in Florida from 2017, Barrett versus Walker County School District, which states that as a limited public forum, a city council meeting is not open for endless public commentary speech, but instead is simply a limited platform to discuss the topic at hand. With that said, we do have a decorum policy which has been codified in the Code of Ordinances for Okeechobee County. This is section 218 of the Code of Ordinances, and it provides very clear guidance for this body and for the public with respect to meeting decorum for the Okeechobee County Board of County Commissioner meetings. I'm just going to go over this policy. I'm not going to read it verbatim. It's included in this memorandum, but if anyone wants to follow along, I'm looking at page 6 of the memorandum, and this is section 218, meeting decorum, subpoint A. So as we talked about, these are formal governmental meetings that are conducted to transact public business. In order to conduct the public's business, this body, the Board of County Commissioners, will maintain a commitment to the principles of civility, honor, and dignity, which means that everyone coming before this body is required to observe those principles when making comments on items and issues before the governing body for consideration. Now, individuals who come before you may be asked, but shall not be required to, state their name and address for the public record. The comments must be made from an easily accessible central location or by other reasonable accommodations, which we have here in our chambers, and shall address the subject of the agenda item.
All right. Well, the lawyer is actually she's trying to cover her ass, or his ass. I don't care, whatever. However she looks at herself, he looks at himself, whatever. But the key thing is that we're not speaking on their consent agenda items or anything that they're voting on about, any type of money. We are speaking on the agenda item of public comment. Public comment. And then we're actually redressing what's happening in their county, and you're probably seeing some of it up here. Make that make sense. These people just do not want us there. They do not want us to talk about the sheriff. They do not want us to point the finger at them. And that's why I hope to see a lot of you there. I know it sucks. It's at 9 a.m. and it's on a Thursday. I get it. Call in sick. Do whatever you got to do. I hope 100 of us show up for public comment just so that we could go there I really don't think they're going to trespass 100 people, but maybe they will. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I'll see you on Thursday. Well, not this Thursday, next Thursday. Yeah, next Thursday.
Comments that are made during the non-agenda or citizen participation order of business, which is the part that we have at the beginning of our meetings, must be directed to matters under the authority of the governing body. So what this means is that, say, for example, a person comes in and they're upset because their power bill is too high. Well, we do not, as a county, control the rates of power. We do not have our own power utility. So that is not something that is under the authority of the governing body. But say, for example, there was a pothole on a county road in front of their house. That would be something that would be appropriate to bring to this body under matters non-agenda items, because those are things like a pothole on a county road that are under the authority of this body.
I was pulled over about 4 or 5 years ago by the Sheriff's Department.
Ms. Ruby, again, we have no jurisdiction over that. Please keep it to something we have jurisdiction over.
Okay, what do you have jurisdiction over?
The roads, the bridges, the library, the playgrounds.
Senior services.
Senior services, that type of things we do. If you have a situation there, we'd love to hear from you.
For example, many of the constitutional offices here in this county, they are not under our purview, in that we do not have authority over them other than their budgets, and for some of them, only their category budgets. So we are limited in our authority, obviously, by the statutes and the law. So as we talk about items that can be brought before y'all, that's something that everyone should consider. It has to be items that are under your authority, because this is a limited public forum. When comments are made, they must be directed to the chair, and the comments, again, must be under the authority of this board and the county administrator. It is important that members of the governing body, the staff, and citizens have to use civil and appropriate language. And our code is very specific on this. It specifically states that all parties must refrain from using profanity, cursing, or exhibiting aggressive or threatening behavior when addressing the governing body or other participants, which would mean other people in this room. All comments must be directed again to the chair and not to individual members of the governing body, including the administrator, or to the audience, or to staff. No personal verbal attacks towards any individual by either the governing body, the staff, or citizens shall be allowed during a meeting of the governing body. If you go down to subsection 6, it states that order must be preserved. No person shall, by speech or otherwise, delay or interrupt the proceedings or the peace of a governing body, or disturb any person having the floor. No person shall refuse to obey the reasonable orders of the presiding officer of the governing body. Any person who makes irrelevant, impertinent, or slanderous remarks, or becomes boisterous while addressing the governing body, shall not be considered orderly or decorous. And any person who becomes disorderly or who fails to confine remarks to the identified subject or business at hand may be cautioned by the presiding officer and given the opportunity to conclude the remarks in a decorous manner and within the designated time limit, which is 3 minutes here. If the presiding officer of the governing body declares an attendee out of order, they'll be requested to relinquish the podium. If the person does not do so, they're subject to removal from the meeting room or building.
Yep, you heard that right. Whatever boisterous means, whatever, let's say we get a little bit too animated for them. Oh, you guys are so evil. Ah, that's your first warning. Oh, that's your second warning. Oh, you're out of here. You're not going to leave your trespass. 2 years. That's what they're trying to do. They're not going to give up. They're not going to, if you even whisper a little bit loudly, they might just kick you out. So I hope to see a lot of you there. But we're not done yet. Let's hear this Bull Dyke attorney continue down the path of tyranny.
And then we talk a little bit more about the time limits, which have to be observed as well. And as you know, you obviously have the authority to gavel when appropriate, and to request speakers be removed from the podium, removed from the room, or removed from the building if they are in violation of this policy under our Code of Ordinances, Section 2-18. With that, if you all have any questions, I'm happy to discuss them. Otherwise, we're going to hold this presentation until later when we get to that agenda item. But otherwise, I'm happy to turn it back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to move on with public comment. Mike Taylor?
All right. Everything I'm going to speak about is going to be something that's happened here in your county, especially here in the chambers. Mr. Hazellief, officers, he offered me the last time I was here to go into his office. I'm willing to oblige that. So after the meeting, if you want to go into your office, we're more than welcome because you offered it. I didn't. Second off, every single one of you, all these officers.
You're out of order. You can only talk to me.
Okay. Hazellief, every single person in this room, you included, swore an oath to uphold and defend the rights of us. That's what you swore. I swear or affirm that I'm going to defend the rights of the Florida Constitution and the United States Constitution. But here you are, just taking a big old dump on the Constitution.
You're out of order.
How am I out of order?
You cannot talk about that. You cannot use that kind of language in our saying. That is your second warning.
Oh, my Jesus.
You know, if you want to continue on, you're going to be removed from the building. It's up to you.
Lord.
You can either go back and sit down or you're going to be removed.
I just want to finish my
no,
minute.
Please resume. I would think this would be an arrestable offense.
I'm leaving.
You know,
You said leave, I'm leaving. I just said fuck you. And I'll say it again, fuck all of you. Everyone.
and he needs to be removed from the premises also.
Motherfucker, shut the fuck up. Go fuck yourself.
Yes, Attorney, surely there's some kind of an ordinance that you can't have that kind of, there's got to be an arrestable offense.
I mean, certainly the ordinance that we talked about, 218, does require civility in these meetings. That type of language is certainly not appropriate.
Can we press charges?
Did you hear that? Did you hear that fat bull dyke bitch fucking go like she was gasping for her last breath of air? Yeah. Yeah. They are itching. That's why Reverend Hippie, he's out. He's been out. They are just itching, man. They are just like, God damn it, whatever we got to do. This free speech stuff is like, So anybody that does show up, I can't tell you what to do. You're your own person. But I'm telling you, it almost doesn't matter what you say. But let's finish.
So we would have to, obviously, that's at the discretion of the law enforcement officers, and they're the ones that I believe have that gentleman. So I think they'll use their professional judgment to determine how to move forward. I think later in the meeting we're going to talk a little bit more about a trespass ordinance, which would give us a little more authority for these meetings. But at the moment, I think it is in the discretion of the deputies.
Okay. I forgot to use my gavel. Sorry about that. Okay. Public comment. We have anyone else for public comment?
Like I said, April 24th on Thursday at 9 a.m. in Okeechobee. April 29th in Clearwater. All the links are in the description. If you can make it, you can make it. If you can't, you can't. If you want to support any one of us trying to get out there, you can support me or you can support any one of us. That, John Felix, Eyes on the State, go to any one of us. And if you want to help support us to get our travel on, you're more than welcome. Is it needed? Sometimes. Because you know something? Doing a lot of this traveling, going back and forth, it does cost money. And I'm not saying I don't make money. I'm just saying sometimes these trips, there's weird little things that happen. But anyway, we're going to get past that. I hope to see a lot of you at these next meetings because guess what? I can only see them getting worse. So don't forget, hit that like, share, and that subscribe button. Links are in the description, and I'll see you on the next video. Soliecker, deuces.